It's hard to comprehend the scale of destruction caused by the Hiroshima and Nagasaki nuclear bombings. It's one thing to read about 80,000 dead civilians, but it's quite another to try and wrap your mind around the fact that there were 80,000 dead civilians before a lot of them died from radiation poisoning and other related complications. So today we were going to do our best to tell the story of the day the sky fell in Hiroshima. On August 6, 1945, the city of Hiroshima wakes up as it does any other day. Children walk to school, shopkeepers open their stores, mothers prepare breakfast for their children. The sky is clear, calm, and blue, just like any other day. Little do they know that high above, some 60,000 meters above the earth, a single American bomber, the Enola Gay, carries a weapon unlike anything the world has ever seen. In the cockpit, American pilot Paul Tibbets guides the Enola Gay towards its target. Alongside him are co-pilot Robert Lewis, navigator Thomas Farabee, bombardier Richard Nelson, and the top-secret cargo they carry. Their mission: Operation Trinity Test, a top-secret military operation which will be the first detonation of an atomic bomb ever. With the fate of the world hanging in the balance, the crew of the Enola Gay have one simple task: drop the bomb and do not miss. Now, if this was a movie, this would be the point where dramatic music swells, perhaps with a ticking clock on the screen to build suspense. They wouldn't be able to get much more dramatic than this. And yet, despite the gravity of the situation, the atmosphere in the plane is said to have been rather relaxed. Apparently, Tibbets even joked with his crew, saying something along the lines of, "Well, here goes our big date." He then handed out cigars, lit them up, and took a deep drag. To quote the report from the crew of the Enola Gay, all of us felt very keenly the tremendous responsibility which rested upon us. But at the same time, none of us were frightened. Enola Gay approaches its target, but because of bad weather in the area, they cannot release the bomb just yet. So they fly in circles until conditions improve. But as they wait, fuel begins to run low. As the Enola Gay began its descent, radar operators reported an unidentified bomber approaching from behind. Apparently, the second plane was so close that the pilots could see each other waving out the windows. It was almost comical. The pilots of the other plane later said that they had been so close they could have easily dropped a hand grenade over the side and killed everyone on board. Instead, they dropped a time and location marker to help guide future bombers. Then finally, at 8:15 a.m., the weather clears and Tibbets makes a sharp turn towards the city of Hiroshima. The Enola Gay flies directly over the center of town. The crew looks down into the city below, unsuspecting people going about their daily routines, a city that looks like any other. This is the perfect target. With everything lined up, Tibbet announces the target is in sight, which signals to the crew that it's go time. They need to release the bomb right now, before anyone can change their mind. Co-pilot Lewis banks the aircraft slightly, releases the bomb, and watches as it leaves the belly of the plane. There is a loud click as the bomb separates. A green-colored parachute deploys and drifts away into the distance. Then all goes silent. For the next 44 seconds, the crew watches the bomb fall towards the city below.
Ow.
All eyes glued to the small object falling from the sky. The crew knows what they've just done. They've just released a device that could potentially end all human life on Earth. For 44 seconds, they watch as the bomb falls silently through the sky. No sounds of an explosion or machine guns being fired, just the rush of air as the plane moves forward. Below, no one knows what is coming. The residents of Hiroshima take a moment to appreciate the beautiful weather. A young girl walks down the street. A mother pushes her baby in a stroller. Office workers leave work early for the long weekend. The peaceful quiet of the morning is shattered in an instant. Then comes a flash of light brighter than the sun. People shield their eyes and turn towards the light. A mushroom cloud rises above the city. Air grows hot and a loud roar fills the sky. The crew of the Enola Gay look back towards the city. The light from the explosion reflects off the windows of the plane. They can hear the distant roar of the explosion, but in that moment they know they are safe. They quickly turn away and head for safety. The Enola Gay flies over Nagasaki, the second target. But the bombing of Hiroshima has left such an impression on the crew that they do want to stick around to see the results. They've even just witnessed the power of the atom bomb firsthand, and the last thing they want to do is stay around to see another detonation. The Enola Gay lands in Tinian 2 hours later. As the crew disembarks, Major Howard Baker approaches them and asks how the mission went. Without hesitation, Tibbets replies, "We certainly got them." Little did they know the true extent of the devastation that they had just caused. Back in Hiroshima, the mushroom cloud rises higher and higher into the sky, eventually reaching 40,000 feet. People run through the streets in terror, some seeking shelter, others confused by what they have just seen. Those who have not been vaporized stumble through the streets in shock. Many desperately search for water to extinguish the flames on their bodies. Others cover their faces with wet towels, trying to filter out the smoke and dust. The few who remain conscious stagger through the streets, searching for food and water. Some make it to a nearby river, collapsing into the dirty water. Few will come out alive. Amidst the chaos, shadows are seared into concrete walls, the outlines of those who never moved quick enough. One man stands frozen in place, forever taking his last steps through the city. The blast wave from the explosion knocks people off their feet. Homes collapse, turning entire families to ash. Many who survived the initial explosion perish under the rubble of their collapsed homes. Those who survive the heat and the blast waves succumb to radiation sickness within weeks and months. The ground trembles under the force of the explosion. Rivers boil and fish float to the surface dead. Trees burst into flames and ignite the dry underbrush. In an instant, Hiroshima is gone. Those who have survived the initial blast now face a new horror. Flames engulf the city, driving many to flee into the hills. Others, too shocked to move, simply stand and watch as their city burns to the ground. As the fires rage across Hiroshima, survivors begin to emerge from the hills surrounding the city. They are burned, dazed, and desperate for water. Some carry injuries that will never heal, both physically and mentally. These are the lucky ones. They have survived the atomic bomb. But for how long? Radiation poisoning claims more victims in the weeks and months following the initial blast. The full death toll may never be known. Estimates range between 70,000 and 86,000 dead. Most were civilians. 3 days later, the United States drops a second bomb on Nagasaki. 2 days after that, Japan surrenders, ending World War II and ushering in the atomic age. The world will never be the same again. The bombing of Hiroshima remains one of the most controversial topics in modern history. Supporters of the bombings say that they were necessary to end the war and save lives. Critics argue that the bombings were a war crime and that the United States should have tried other options. Regardless of one's stance on the bombings, there is no denying that they were a pivotal moment in history. The age of nuclear weapons has begun. If you want to learn more about World War II, stay tuned. We have a ton of videos covering every aspect of the war.